Today our topic is label, text box and button. These three are the most basic common control of Visual Basic. These three controls are under the toolbox all Windows form. First, we'll scroll down to label, label and text box. It's in alphabetical order, so text box here, it's text box and button. Okay, so these are the three control: label, text box and button. The label control represents a standard Windows label. It is generally used to display some informative text on the form, and it cannot be changed during runtime. Text box. This text box control allows entering text on the form at runtime. We can also display text just like the label, but the difference is that it allows entering text at runtime. By default, it takes a single line of text. However, you can make it accept multiple text and even add scroll bars to it. Then the third one is button. Button control represents a standard Windows button. It is generally used to generate a click event by providing a handler for the click events. Now let us see their properties and events. First one, label. When we click this label, the corresponding properties will be displayed here. The same way when we click the text box, then the corresponding properties is displayed here. And for button, the property is displayed here. And the same way, if we want to change the property of this form, that is this page, then we have to click on the empty space and the form 1 property can be changed. First, let us see the label. uh, the most the most important property of label is name. Name, default is label 1. This name is used to refer to this object, so it is normally used at runtime. And we have here auto size property to true. That is the size the size can be fixed, or otherwise it is floating. That is, it will change according to the text display. And back color, here we have a list of color palettes, and we can change it in any color we want, like this. It is the background color. And we have the border style. Here the border style default is none. Then we can make it fixed also, and we can make it fixed 3D also, but let us change it to the default value none. And we have enable property. Enable property is the when it is true, then this control responds to the mouse click and this keyboard events. And when it is disabled, then it does not respond to any events. And here the font, you can change the size of this label from this font property, the size, and as well as the this one, the font style. Anything you can select it, then okay. So this is the label is changed. And the fore color default is black, and here also we can change the fore color to white, etc. And here we can also put the, instead of the background, we can put the image. Then another important one is the size. Here the dimension is display in height, width and height. So we can also change the size, and it will also change according to this dragging of a mouse. And the text, this is the text display. Default it's label 1. The text we display is label 1, so we can change it to hello, how are you. Sorry, how are you. that. So this text property is used to display the text on the label. And here visible property, here the default is true. So if we change it to false, then this label will be invisible at runtime. Just I will demonstrate it here. Since I have two forms in my project, I'll put the startup form is form 1, so it's okay, and I'll run it. See, it's invisible. So from the code also I can make it visible again. So it we can change its property at runtime as well as at design time. Change it again. So these are the some of the important basic properties of the label. And the next one is text box. For the text box, the first property is name. So default is text box 1. So this one is also for the reference of this control. So we usually use at runtime. Then another property, there are many common properties like back color, as we have already changed in label 1. We can also change the back color, the border style, this enable property, font property, for color property. For here we can change it. It doesn't mean that it should be similar with the label. We can have different properties for this text box also. So we can have different for color also, different font size also, and the size also. And as we have already mentioned, by default the text box is single line, so we can make it multiple line. Like suppose if we want to make it bigger, we cannot make it, we can by length we can drag, but the size cannot be modified, since here the multi-line property is false. So this multi-line property, if we select true, then we can change its size. And we can put scroll bar also. Suppose we have a list of text, so scroll bar is very easy if we have a if we have a lengthier notes. So here we have a scroll bar here, so we can put the scroll bar to horizon. We can have both horizontal and vertical scroll bar, and both. And this one is the size. And this text alignment left, right, and justified, by default it's left. We can have, like for calculator, normally we'll have right, justified, and center also we can have. And the next is visible, true. So these are common properties for the this one label 2. And one unique property of text text box is password care. This one is like whenever we enter the password, the character is not displayed. Instead, some star or asterisk is displayed. So for that one, this property, password care can be set. If it is not set, then normal text will appear. And if we can set it to any character or any special character. So like suppose if we put asterisk here, then the thing what is displayed in the text all will be in star. Like here we have, here by default in text box nothing is displayed. So suppose if I display hello, then here you can see here on this star. I'll just change the font because it's barely visible, so I'll just change it, its size. Okay, here we can see only star because the password care is set. So I have hello, hello, so 5 star is displayed. And suppose if I clear this password care, then the normal text will be seen. Okay, so uh, the next is button. For the button also we have more or less similar properties like the name. The default name is button 1, and we have the auto size property, back color also it's similar to the label. We can have different back color, and background, instead of the color also we can have a background image. Then enable property, as already mentioned, if it is true then it responds to mouse and keyboard events, and if it is false then it does not respond to any events. And we have the font and fore color, and we have the size also, and text. By default it's button 1, so here we can put click me. Okay, and text alignment by default it's middle, and visible true. By default it's true. We can set it to false also depending upon our application. So these are the some of the properties of the tree, label, text box and button. Let us talk about the events. When we talk about events is something which our application responds to it. It is like it is what is happening when a user does something. So when a user click a button, then that one is an event. When a user press the key in the keyboard, that is also event. When the user change the text, that is also an event. So there are a number of events. So in order to see the events, let's go to the coding part. Like suppose if I click this label 1, if I double click it, then it will go to the coding part, and here we have label 1 click events is generated. So beyond this click events, we have a number of events. Here we have a list of events like back color change event, auto size change event, and we have click events, double click events. This is also a popular one. And we have font change events, got focus event, mouse click event, mouse move, mouse lift, mouse hover, this text change. These are the list of events that the label has. And in these events, the events occur when the user does something. So this the click events occurs when this label is clicked, and double click when the label is double clicked, and got focus when this label got the cursor focus. The same way lost focus is when it loses its focus. Key down key press, all this happens when our keyboard key is pressed. So for level 1 we have a list of events. For button also the same way, we have a number of events here. The most common events are click, double click, key down, key up, mouse move, mouse hover, mouse click, and this one lost focus, got focus event. Here for text box, all those also the same way, we have click events here, click events. Okay, so if we want to write events for those code for those events, then we have to just type in this inside this procedure. So let us see a simple example to demonstrate uh, this tree control clearly. First, I'll set the font size of this form, because it's easier to do this way. Instead of changing each and every control on the form, I'll just put here, I'll just set the size to 18 bold. Okay, and then I'll take 4 buttons. So this application will be about uh, implementation of a very simple calculator. So I'll copy button. Okay, I'll take three button. Okay, and then the next is I'll take four, sorry, 3 label. I'll copy it again. Label 2, and the third one is label 3. And I'll also take 3 text box. 1, I'll copy it. 2, I'll copy it. 3, and let me change its property, its text property. Okay, for this one I'll put the first number, and for label 2, second number, and here this one will be the result. So this label is just for displaying the information what to input in this text box. Okay, so this text box, we don't need to change the text at runtime. Uh, we just need to change the name. So I'll change the name for this text box, txt first, txt second, and this one will be txt result. This name can be changed according to the naming convention of the programming language. So you can put any name for this one. So this name, but we have to remember this name because we are going to use it in the coding. And for this button, the first one will be button add. The first one name is button add. Then button subtract, button multiply, and button divide. I have the button, usually the naming convention of Visual Basic, the button always starts with btn. The button control always starts with the btn followed by its function, like btn add. For the same way, for text box, it starts with txt and its function. For the label also, it's lbl first, lbl second, lbl third. Okay, and I'm going to change the text of this button. First one will be, since it is add, I'll put plus, minus, multiply, and divide. Okay, and now let us go to the coding part. The thing is, when I click the plus button, then the first number should add up with the second number, and the result will be displayed in the results section. So first and second number, the user needs to enter the first and second number, and the result, the user does not need to modify it. So I'll just change its enable property to false for the result only. Okay, now I'll double click it, Here I have a list of this one, button add. So in the button add, I need to display the result of text first plus text second. So I'll put text. I'll just start with the text result. Text result dot text is equal to text first dot text plus text second dot text. Here I put dot text because dot text is the property name. If I just put text first, it is just the name of the text box, so it does not mean anything. There will be an error. So when I put dot text, then this is the property of the text box, so it will extract the text in the text box. As the name implies, whatever we enter in the text box is taken as a text or string. So we need to if we want to add it, we need to convert it to integer. So in order to convert it to integer, I'll put cint here. Cint, same way here, cint. Okay, so for this one is for the addition, and for the subtraction, I'll just copy here. I'll just copy it from here, and for subtract, I'll change the plus sign to minus, and this one to multiply. Here it's asterisk, and here divide is slash. Okay, now let us run our application. Okay, here we can see the result is gray out because it is disabled, so nothing can be done. Here the first number 34, second number is 2. I'll add it. The result is 36. It's correct. 34 minus 2 is 32, and 34 into 2 is 68, and 34 divided by 2 is 17. So this is a simple example to demonstrate label, button, and text box. Thank you.